Okay, hi everybody. So we are here to learn more about rigid adhesive taping. Before we start, let me take you through some of the common tapes that we use in practice. So if you see this tape, this is white in color. In routine lingo or common language, it is also known as a leuco tape or adhesive tape or sports tape or athletic tape. Alright, that is what you have numerous names, but essentially it is the rigid adhesive tape. Why rigid and adhesive? Because it is non-elastic. Yeah, okay. So it's rigid and it has adhesive. Alright, we also have a brown tape. So that's a white tape, this is a brown tape, but this belongs to the same family. This is also rigid adhesive tape, just the color is brown. So in practice, these are the two most common colors that you have. Alright, the white color and the brown color. You also have it of different width. This is a 38 millimeter tape, so it's 3.8 centimeter in width. This is a 25 millimeter tape. So sometimes there are some tapings, as we will see now, that we need to use a lesser width tape. If this is not available, the other option is we tear this tape into two halves and make it less wide. Alright, so that's up to us. Alright, in addition to that, we also have another option which is rigid but not, which is adhesive but not rigid. This is the adhesive elastic tape. It sticks, but it also has the ability to expand in length. Alright, so there are some tapings where we need, apart from support, additional mobility. So there's where we apply the elastic part of the rigid tape so that extra mobility is allowed to the athlete. Alright, knee taping, we use a lot of elastic tape of adhesive types. Then we have another one. This is called as a hyperfix. I just cut a small section and show it to you guys. Sometimes the skin is sensitive. Okay, sometimes the skin is sensitive, so we use this as the first layer. This is extremely hypoallergenic. This is a very special variety kind of tape in terms of its manufacturing quality. So we will put this one on the skin first, and on top of this we will put the tape so that the tape's adhesive is not directly in touch with the skin. Alright? Okay. But this is only supposed to be for those where there is a skin allergy or there is some sort of sensitivity in the skin, some sort of skin problems like rashes, blisters, eczema, psoriasis. Then we want a nice hypoallergenic protective cover over which we apply the tape. Alright? Good. So that's variety number 3. We also have two different qualities of tape. Let me tell you that the new generation tapes are quite hypoallergenic. They are made of latex-free adhesive. So there's no more latex in the adhesive. It's hypoallergenic. It's quite friendly to the skin. And some of the tapes of slightly better quality also have zinc oxide and boric acid impregnated in the adhesive. So that kind of act as an antiseptic to the skin. So the manufacturing technology has come a long way. Today's tape is much more friendly to human skin. Alright? Nice. Sometimes we have oily skin. Skin naturally has oil glands and secretes oil. Alright? So in that case, the adhesiveness becomes quite low and the tape tends to slide off. So we do have things like these kind of skin prep swabs that has a bit of adhesion in it. So before you apply the tape, you actually apply this, and this kind of, when it dries off, it has an element that it sticks easily. So that increases the stickiness of the tape to the skin. Okay, so it's like, you see, it kind of takes a while, but it'll come off, but it gives me that extra layer of grip of the tape on the skin because of this film of adhesive in between. Okay, alright. So if we have something to help the tape stick, we also have something to help the tape come off. Alright, so they are also called as adhesive remover wipes. These are the adhesive wipes. Oh gosh. Yeah. Okay. These are adhesive remover pads. So we when we take off the skin, sometimes what happens if the tape has been in place for a day or two, a part of the adhesive, it leaves the tape and sticks to the skin. And you take off the tape, the adhesive is still sticking to the skin. And that's very irritating. Using this adhesive remover wipes, you can actually wipe off and clean off the skin. Alright? And as a good practice, after the tape is taken off, you must wash the skin with gentle soap and water and apply some moisturizer. And if there are some cuts or minor, abrasions, it is good idea to wash with the sterile water and apply some antiseptic powder over it so that healing happens faster. Alright? Many times questions are asked that can we use the KT tape or the Kinesio tape in place of rigid tape? It's a very common question. Students have been asking me this for years, and the answer mostly is no. Adhesive tape is strong, it's inelastic, and its primary property or primary application is to provide support and stability. Alright? One more point, this should be ideally applied directly over the skin whenever possible. Because what happens is, our skin, just below the skin, if you look at this gentleman over here, you see the entire muscular system, which is quite obvious. And in each of those muscles, tendons and ligaments, we have sensory nerve endings. Alright? And when this is applied directly over the skin, the tape, by some mechanisms, stimulates the sensory nerve endings. And it leads to better motor response like stability, balance, joint position sense, and so on. Alright? So if there is anything between the tape and the skin, that sensory stimulus will be blunted to some extent. Okay? It will still provide the support, of course, but that sensory stimulation will be blunted to some extent, and you may not get as much benefit as you may get when you tape the skin directly to the skin. Put the tape directly over the skin. Alright? Okay. So the last part of the introduction, we have the KT tape. So can KT tape be used in place of the adhesive tape? Answer is mostly no. That is because, guys, the Kinesio tape, if you come close and look at the formation of the tape, outside it is cotton, but inside it has a very typical pattern. You see this pattern of lines and whorls like a fingerprint. Alright, now this is meant for a very specific purpose. Okay, when you apply this tape over the skin, it stretches about 140%. From the base length, it stretches about 140%, and that is kind of exactly how much our skin also stretches. So the property of the KT tape is very similar to the property of the skin. And when you apply KT tape in the right manner, it leads to very specific and special outputs. One, it will lift the skin up from the underlying tissues. Alright, so if you see here, maybe one of you can come here, I'll just show that if you can bend your wrist down and I apply the KT tape. So at the point of application, the KT tape feels quite nice and uniform. But the moment he will return his hand back, you will see there will be these wrinkles coming up. These corrugations come up. So this is basically lifting the skin up from the underlying tissues. And when the skin is lifted up from the underlying tissues, you have a gap here. So that kind of facilitates flow of body fluids in that gap. So good fluid can come in, bad fluid can go out. Alright, circulation is enhanced. So that facilitates incoming of more oxygen, more nutrients, and draining out of the necrotic debris and the waste products. Alright, then you see when it is bent like that, it has a pulling action on the skin. This blunts the pain receptors underneath the skin. Okay, and when the pain receptors are blunted, pain sensation is taken care of, athlete feels more comfortable. Muscle spasm, remember, pain leads to spasm and spasm leads to pain. So when pain is blunted, the muscle spasm is eased, and there's a lot of comfort that is felt by the athlete. And because of increased flow of blood, oxygen, nutrients, the healing is also kind of promoted to some extent. Alright, so these are specific utilities or usefulness or purpose of KT tape. It is not so much for support and stability and compression. It is more for blunting the pain sensation, increasing the circulation, drainage of lymph, providing more sensory stimulus and better healing responses if you have to collectively put it together. All right? Okay. So last one, we have a lot of scissors here that is used along with taping. This is a scissor with a blunt end. So when you put it in, it will never damage the skin because the end here is blunted. All right? End here is blunted. The one at the lower arm. All right? You'll see a blunt end here. It's a blunt end. So it's very easy to put into the skin and then cut. You have no danger of a sharp thing going in here. All right, so this is very commonly used in practice because it's extremely safe for cutting the tape out. But you will see these kind of scissors are also used quite commonly in practice. Okay. All right, cut.